So we are a little bit out of schedule now. We have 10 little minutes to, if you have questions, to ask. But I would like the speakers who were just before Crispin, so Sarah Escoubet, Mr. Hans Wyss, and Professor Ödberg, who will be on video conference. And then you can answer the questions from the audience and the live stream. Also, there are lots of live stream questions, Alina? Okay.
I have a question for Hans, because you say you banned rollcore in Switzerland, and rollcore is when it's hyperflexion with force. But what about in show jumping? You see a lot of hyperflex horses on the light contact, and people tell you, yeah, but the horse is not forced into that position, but it's been conditioned to be in that position. So how do you deal with that?
I think the main question you point out is for stewards, for people who are doing really the on-site control, and there what I perceive now today is really a huge difference between what you have to do when you are at the show on the preparation ground, and you do your work and influenced by all this images we have seen, and there to do the work, that is probably a huge challenge. I think what we intended is that there is that it starts an understanding in the sport that this practice is not tolerated, and I never had the idea that from the moment you introduce it that it will change from one day to the other, but it is a change of understanding, and I'm sure that if we want to achieve a better situation, it is there where we have to work on. That means education of the riders, education of the trainers, and to have a common understanding. And there, what I can see now today is that it had an influence beyond Switzerland. I mean, I read in many different ways that the example of Switzerland was mentioned in different publications in different countries, and that's where I think is the most of the influence. But at the show, to take the action, it means that when you are an official, you should have the courage to take the action, and this is a question of education, and a question of personality. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't do the job. But it's not easy to find the people who have the courage to do it.
Yeah, but then what if they start banning everyone as well? Because hyperflexion is seen everywhere. So if you have a steward that starts saying, you can compete, you can compete, you can compete, then what is the FEI or whatever federation going to do about it when there's no more rider to compete? That's an issue as well, isn't it?
This is not my... I tell you, as I said in my presentation, I don't think that every horse who is behind the vertical is hyperflexion. This is not correct, in my view. This is my personal view. So what I wanted to try to say is when we take the images of we've seen now, and you go to the show, I think, and I discussed with stewards the last days in preparing for this meeting, there is a better understanding, and I don't see really too many real cases of rollcore in Switzerland. I don't say it doesn't happen, and I don't say that it is easy to prove, but it is a change going on that I think we have today a much better situation. I give you an example. I was we always discuss about dressage, but it's also in show jumping. I was in Geneva, And I go everywhere. Every year I go to visit Geneva, and over the years, I see now there are more riders really riding their horses head in front of the vertical. I could tell you 2, 3 riders who still do not understand that this practice is wrong. But I think there is a certain change. You see in preparing the horses in the morning, you see you see draw reins, but not as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where every horse was ridden with draw reins. So I think there's a slow change, and we should work on this change, and perhaps our regulation helps a little bit to go in this direction.
Thank you very much. Maud, we're going to change. If you have other questions, we'll keep them for tomorrow. Thank you. Was there somebody else who had a question here for Fenna Westerdan from the Dutch Federation?
Thank you. I have a question for Sarah. You were talking about brands and then we should guide them or restrain. Eh? Yeah. What do you mean by brands? Is it the producers or?
No, it's more like people who actually pay for any type of advertisement. We should be able to actually produce guidelines, and I think it's very close to what we just saw here. There's a huge lack of knowledge of what should be used, of what shouldn't be used. And I'm not in favor or neither project. I mean, guiding or restraining. It's more about using both. And really it's for any company that's going to put material out there, video, pictures, even like IDs. I don't know, that's quite controversial, but like there's a power that you have when you are the provider of whatever product that is. And with that power comes responsibility. Yeah. I mean, that's quite of an Avenger quote, I think. Anyway.
Write it down. Yeah.
But yeah, you really have to take into consideration that you're going to have weight, you're going to have a voice, you're going to be... and people take things for granted because you are selling the product. I mean, we were talking bits this morning. There are bits and that are just, it's torture. Like you simply don't use it. It's the same thing. Like, yes, maybe a gun might be a very great decoration, but it was designed to harm. I mean, it's not, maybe in somebody who has a very, very gentle hand is going to be okay.
But, well, we did some research at the producer side.
Yeah.
We asked, what do you do about horse welfare in the research you do for a new product? And none of the producers did that. They only checked the rider side.
Yeah. And
so
there's no...
We should give them, they should take more responsibility, but well.
They should take more responsibility, and I think it's a lot about the governing bodies. We have to take a step forward. They don't know. They are not selling products to the horses. The horses that don't have money. People do. People are actually buying the things, and studies are made onto people. And as I said, people will buy things because it makes them feel things. When somebody goes from a full bridle, double bit and stuff to a so-called ethological halter, it's because it makes them feel better.
It's marketing, not
horse
welfare.
It really is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that when we were interviewed for the Dombroval campaign, for the report, with Monsieur Galou and my colleague, who is also a member of the Collectif, Cécile Béraud, excusez-moi, we asked Monsieur Dombroval if it wasn't possible to put up a huge sensibilizing campaign throughout the world, internationally, by the FEI, to teach riders, media, sponsors, federations, and brands to show better pictures, because it's always the same problem of keeping the perception and then keeping everything what we've been saying since now. So I think it can only work if everybody is informed at the same time. So it really needs a huge sensibilizing campaign from the FEI. It won't work otherwise. I think we have. Are there other questions from the room? No, it's okay. So we're going to let. I will let you after the. Or is it short, Ansley? You think? Okay, we'll try to do it short and then the live stream. Sorry, Alina.
Sorry. It was for Crispin. You were talking about the different show venues and how it became very selective on what photographs you, quote unquote, were allowed to take or what was accepted. Where does that come from? Like what type of, is it individual per show venue? Like who's the governing person there that decides, you know, this is an acceptable photo or this isn't, or I don't want you here anymore? Is it the individual rider? How does that work?
Oh, there. Oh, thank you. Talk about willful blindness. I think it's different, and I think it's can be quite difficult to see. I would recommend you to look at that, if you haven't done it, the YouTube video when we are being thrown out of Falsterbo.
I saw
because that is a real mess.
Yeah.
That is a real mess. And the Swedish public broadcasting, they were very quick out to say that this had nothing to do with them. So your question is, who? I think a lot of this has come about, for me there was a real big shift, I think, in the control of equestrian images when social media came. I think before then you have this sort of a power establishment that pretty much controlled all the publication. And you even see today, you know, like Helgstrand has bought Chronicle of the Horse. A lot of the equine media is actually owned by people who are in the sport. So for me, it is a little bit difficult to see, but I would say that I'm not that sure if they are that brave any longer in getting rid of us or controlling it like that. So I think you're going to see new ways of trying to control the equestrian image. And I think a lot of it probably is going in I don't know if this is an answer to your question, but it's certainly what I want to say. And that is that a lot of the control is now going to be transferred. So it was first with publishing, then you saw a lot of really aggressive monitoring of the production. And I think now it's going to be going in much more into the side of manipulating perception, which is what you're basically talking about, how to manipulate people's perception, how to,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just looking for a little bit of insight.
But it is really hard occasionally seeing who, stewards are very hostile.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not all, many, but I've been speaking to lots of stewards, and I think half of them. Yeah, it's been like 5 years. Half. Yeah,
it's the wrong thing to say.
It's just my experience is that if I go to them and I just ask them what they see, and if it's they who tell the story, then they always end up 50% of them that I talk to end up saying that they have no power, no backup to go see these people, and they are afraid of them. And there also is a report from stewards. Julie Taylor has described this in her book, I think, about stewards who are saying themselves to the FEI that they cannot intervene because they get aggressed by the riders. And sometimes they even get threats for lawsuits, so they don't dare. And then you have the other 50% who are totally sure that LDR is perfectly fine. And these people are very aggressive with us, very aggressive.
Can I just come with a little comment there? Because I do actually think, and that was what I also said, that the task of the steward is almost impossible. And I think one should recognize that they are, I don't know why they're standing there in one way, but it is an impossible task. And I think it changes a little bit if you are standing there with a big camera, that you obviously sort of signify that you are documenting.
Yeah, I had that in Compiègne this year. There was a steward who invited me in his tent to observe things with him, and he intervened many times because I was there, and it gave him just a backup, just a mental backup, and he was very proud of himself. He didn't do it again afterwards because I wasn't there anymore. So I think they really need backup. They really, yeah.
What?
So we'll just have to, yeah, okay.
And what I really would like to see is, I don't watch football, but I did actually watch the football in Qatar, and I was interested in how often the judges are running off pitch, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And checking with the video, because that is what's going to have to be done, is that there's no steward can stop someone riding or intervene without having documentation.
Yeah.
You're talking about extremely wealthy, powerful people who are going to crush any steward that,
Yeah.
So I think documentation, and that you're going to have to be running in and out.
We will come back to that tomorrow afternoon in the think tank. We'll have 45 minutes to really put up an action plan, and I think this is really part of it. I think so. So the live stream questions. I just look at the timing. So it's 4. And so we have like 20 minutes for the break, but. Those who want a break can go take a break, but we will go on with the live stream chat questions, okay?
Yes, we have a couple of active members here commenting all the time and asking questions, and they are very curious, they want to know. So, Catherine is commenting, and this is to Dr. Wyss. The Swiss do not stop riders riding in roll call when they are riding under the FEI banner, so international competitions organized by the FEI. Therefore, roll call is as used as ever before, also in Switzerland, as the FEI is the organizer. And I would join this question from Ulysses. So in other competitions where the roll call is used, what are the sanctions when a rider uses roll call? And can the horse be seized for mistreatment?
Thank you, Catherine, for this question.
So it is clear even for FEI events. The rules are clear that the Swiss Animal Welfare Act is in force. It's no question about that. The other question is that the controls are done by officials of the federations, and we are till now not able to educate enough people and to have the resources to control these sports by official veterinarians from the cantonal authorities. But the rules are, it's no question, the rules are for all the events the same. It's the event national or international, it is no question, the rules are the same. We had the same discussions more than 30 years ago when we introduced that the desensitized limb nerves were no more allowed. We had the same question, but it is no question that also for international events, the rules are clear. These are the national rules of Switzerland.
Sorry, there's another question about the law. So what is your definition of roll call? Does it encompass all behind the vertical, or if not, how far behind? You already answered this a little bit, but...
So I think that will be one of the main questions, and I try to give my explanation, and it's not only mine. It's the one who is based on which is based the Swiss regulation, and it is really a position that is coerced and where the horse cannot free itself, and that's also the reason why we do not differentiate between hyperflexion and roll call. It's this aspect, and I personally think we should, and we saw that in this research project I talked about, where we tried to find a method to follow on the preparation arenas with video cameras and to have this support from this technical support. When you have the limit, when the horse is behind the vertical, I think this is not realistic. Everyone who has ridden horses and has never ridden the horse behind the vertical and doing sports, he should come to me and I will not believe it. I tell you. I will not believe it. This is not, it is
Mr.
a goal.
Wyss,
It is a goal that should be really, and I think that the main point is that the judges have to punish if the horse is behind the vertical.
Yeah, more in the tests. Yeah, you mean more, punish it more, yeah. Get the notes down in the tests so that the people don't ride so much behind the vertical.
There was a change over the years. I could observe personally. I myself could observe this change. That when you see the videos from Olympic Games in the 60s, 70s, you saw no horses, and we saw it today. No horses behind the vertical. And today you're going to have a look on the championships. You see a lot of horses, even in the competition behind the vertical.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's not because it's the norm. It's not because it is the norm that it is okay.
No, the rules are still the same, but the judges do not do their job. This is the problem.
True. Also,
So here was a pretty good comment. With respect to roll core, as it causes well-recognized incorrect muscling, can riders be penalized and or reprimanded for using roll core at home, even if not at the showground? So this could be used as well. And there's also one comment that, can we make education and contribution to horse welfare mandatory next to banning from competition for a period? And in the second phase, if the rider fails to follow the rules, seize the horse and ban the rider permanently.
I think we can let the FEI answer this question tomorrow. Is that possible? If you're still there with us. Because I don't have an answer on that. It's more a question for the federation.
Yes, I will. I have it saved and we can bring it up tomorrow.
Okay, good. We can bring that up again tomorrow. Okay. Are there other questions, Alina, from the live stream?
Well, there were comments that also what you said, Crispin, that suggest to swap eye judging with some IA technique, just like tennis already does. So there was comparison to football again. So this is what probably equestrian will benefit from. And there was also a curiosity, but probably it's going to be for tomorrow. Don't you think something could be done on a political level? Is there any current parties talking about equine welfare?
I think in your country it's coming up quite heavily in the Netherlands. Thank you very much. So we're going to get a little break now.